Hey y'all, I'm back with another video, and in this video I will be showing y'all how I achieved this look that y'all see. Okay, so there was like a whole process when it came to me doing these nails. At first I had planned like a look, sat down and like tried to do it, and like it turned out really ugly to me. Like I just didn't like it. So in a couple of these clips y'all will see like certain fingers did not look like what the outcome is. It's because I spent like a good couple days just like after this first day. I just took off like certain fingers and redid like my left hand, like all of my left hand, and then like I just left my right hand as it was. And so like kind of just a whole bunch of like clips of me back and forth between like different days, fixing nails and just putting it the way that it is in the video. So if you see like a brown fingernail or something, like that's from what I did, and ended up taking off. And yeah, but I won't be showing y'all those fingers. You'll probably get like a little glimpse at the end of like how it was before, but I didn't like it, so yeah. Also I had to like adjust the length of certain nails by like adding a tip from the back, or like putting a form under the tip that I already like placed on my nail to extend it, or just little stuff like that. So yeah, if that's like, y'all are gonna see the whole thing, because I know there are some questionable like things in here for like the methods that I used or whatever. Also, that first marble that I did, it was okay. So I show y'all like how I did the marble at first, because that's the method I use when I marble my acrylics, to try to get like the marble design or whatever, because it's the way that I've figured how to do it, or it's the way that I'm able to achieve that design. But when I first, put the top coat on and everything from like that first set idea that I had, you could barely see the marble. So I went in with like another pink to try to, help. But I'll tell y'all more about that when I get to that part of this video. Right now, I'll just like let y'all sit back and watch until, I need to pop in again. So I will come in later. Okay, y'all, so here is where I begin to do the marble design. So it's basically the same method that I used in my first video I uploaded to my channel. I just like make sure I grab a wet bead of whatever the first color is that I want to use, and then grab a wet bead of the second color, place it on top, and kind of just swirl them into like, you know, a marble look, and make sure to swirl it so that it doesn't, you know, mix too much to where you can't see it, but also make sure to swirl it where it's like not, you know, too little, so that it's like two separate colors. You want it to be two separate colors, but in the design you want, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I also I'm starting on my pinky, because here's a little trick for y'all, or a tip. When you start on your pinky, like especially if you're just starting to use acrylic for that day or whatever, and you're just like beginning to get the hang of it for that day, you know, the pinky is like the easiest finger to start on. So like if you do have a little screw ups with your application, it's not too big, or not on a super big finger where it's like harder to file or whatever. Like, I don't know, I just always start on my pinky. I always try to make sure to start on my pinky, because especially when I'm starting off for the day applying acrylic, because it's just easier to clean up after. And then, like, you know, your application gets better as you keep doing your fingers or whatever. So yeah. And yep. So also, I want to let y'all know, I don't know if the clip comes right after this, but I, like I said, did not like how the pink in this marble, you weren't able to see it as much after I put the top coat on the acrylic. And so what I did was I filed it down as thin as I could, to like really just as thin as I could. It didn't even matter if like the marble design was like gone or not, because I was gonna go back over it with like the same pink, but then another pink that's a little brighter, and like basically do the same method. When it comes to marbling, just use two pinks, and you know, you want to make sure that when you are swirling the pinks, that it's not like one pink is more distinct, or at least for my look, that's what I was going for. I was trying to like kind of mix the colors, kind of mash them together. So that's what I did. And so yeah, you'll be able to see that better when I get to that clip, and I'll also pop back in and let y'all know that that's where, you know, I start to do that. Also, there's like another method that I did for my when I was applying with my left hand, with my non-dominant hand, and I'll go more in depth with that when that clip comes back, or when that clip comes on. So yeah. Okay, y'all, so this is where I start to file away the previous marble design that I did on that finger. As y'all can see, like, I'm showing y'all how I fixed the marble and added the other pink with like my other hand. And y'all see how thin I like filed it right here. I just wanted to show y'all like that side view so you can see how thin I filed it. It doesn't need to be too thin, but you know, not too thick also. So yep, I used the same colored Ciao Bella by iGel and Valentino. I think it was like 158. Yep. So yep. Okay, so let me explain what I'm doing here. Since I was using my non-dominant hand to like do marble on my dominant hand, I was a little bit more strategic with how I would do the marble design. And I wasn't like just, you know, like how I used my other hand or my dominant hand. I wasn't just like swirling the colors because I have very little control over my non-dominant hand because, you know, the muscles in there. I don't really use my non-dominant hand since it's, you know, in my non-dominant hand. So basically I made sure to keep my brush like really wet, and when I would take beads of acrylic, I made sure that I would like swirl, like focus on certain parts of the finger. So I started with the lower part of the nail, as you can see, and like kind of just swirled in that area only, and I worked my way up, right? And then so like you go in with the first pink, which is like the lightest pink or whatever color first you want to go in with, right? And then I went in with that brighter pink and kind of like went over that same area, making sure my brush was still like wet, and then kind of just smearing those colors together, kind of like just blotting it into the other pink to kind of mix the colors. I hope this makes sense, but if not, like, I hope y'all are able to like see what I'm doing better than like, you know, how I'm explaining it. So yeah, that's what I did. And like I even would like somewhat take the edge of my brush and kind of like force the acrylic to go in a certain way that I knew would look a little bit more like marble, you know. Like, I don't think that I show it right at this second, but you'll see as I keep you know, doing the design on this finger. Sometimes like I would, you know, make the acrylic go like in a certain way, like curve a little, you know, to just add to that marble design. And there's like many ways you can do this design anyway, so it's not like one specific way. I know a lot of people take like 2 wet beads and kind of just swirl them together, but because like I said, I was using my non-dominant hand, I, you know, went in with the colors a little bit more strategically. And I think right here is where I'm showing you like me kind of, you know, guiding the acrylic to go in a little curve or, you know, a certain direction to make it look a little more marble. But when I did do this with my dominant hand, I just did it the regular way with taking the wet beads of both pinks and clears and just swirling it and making sure that, like, you know, no color was more distinct than the other. I made sure to, you know, make sure that the colors were kind of blended in a way where, you know, you couldn't see one more than the other. And if you could, it was just a teeny bit. So I hope this makes sense. But if not, just like pay close attention to like the video, and like you'll be able to see what I did. So yeah, and I think that's really it for me trying to explain this part. But I'll pop in later, of course, to explain whatever else I have to. So yeah. Okay guys, so right here is where I took off the brown acrylic. As you can see, like in the background, there's a whole bunch of brown, like little, acrylic bits. I took it off my thumb. Obviously you can see my thumb on my right hand had brown acrylic because that was the original look. But yeah, I didn't like it, like I said in the beginning. So I'm just showing y'all how I applied on my thumb this white acrylic. Honestly, I believe this is like the first set that I successfully like had a really good like thumb application, because any other like time that I had done thumbs on myself or other people, it was like it didn't look like the shaping was not good. So I figured out that the secret to, or the key I guess, to like getting a good thumb application is to make sure you wipe the sides, like continue. If you don't do anything else when you are applying acrylic, and not even only just for the thumbs, like for any finger, wherever you're applying acrylic, like just make sure you continue to like wipe the sides, because if you wipe the sides, that will preserve the shape. And so, and even I feel like even if you do apply acrylic and you're not wiping the sides, but then you go in after to try to like clean it up with a file, I feel like it doesn't hit the same. Like the shaping is still not as good as if you just continue to wipe the sides. And I've learned that like through trial and error. Like I personally, like even after doing this set, I messed up one time. Like I don't know how, but the shaping on one of my practice sets on the thumb was like not the best, and it's because I wasn't like continuously wiping the sides. So yeah, I just remember to wipe the sides. If anything, just remember to wipe the sides of like the thumb or index, middle, ring, pinky, whatever finger. Like just wipe the sides of the acrylic or of the nail to like keep the acrylic from flowing over and messing up your shape. And I know that was something that like I would hear all the time when I would watch like YouTube videos and whatever, but it's like when you sit down and you do it, or at least for me, I would forget. So if you don't take anything from this video, just take away to continue to wipe the sides of your finger, of your nail when you're applying acrylic, because I promise you, like, it's the thing that will literally like save your shape and like just to make it look so crisp and nice. Like I will admit though, I do need to continue working on my shape, but I definitely think it's much better than like my first set that I did. For this to have only been my second set that I've done on myself, I think I had pretty good shaping. So yeah, just continue to wipe the sides, and basically that's it. I think that also I did not cap the white on my middle or my thumb, because one, I was tired. Two, I was looking at the nail from the side and stuff, and I think I had like a good enough apex. And that's another thing, like with the apex, your apex does not have to be too thick. And I don't know like how to even explain like how an apex needs to be, because even like sometimes I'm like a little confused with that still. But this set did last me like a good month plus, and so without lifting or before lifting, eventually it did lift, and I like was just being really lazy and didn't take it off and like hit my nail on something, and so like I ripped my nail because I was being lazy. But yeah, no, like I think that overall just continue to wipe the sides of your nail, and your apex doesn't have to be too like thick. And just make sure, like, if your nail is like just straight flat, that's not okay, but it needs to have a little natural little curve or hump or whatever you want to call it, for the apex to keep it from just flying off your finger if you hit it on something. And then right here, I'm sorry, I'm trying to like hurry up and get to explaining what I'm doing here, but right here I had forgotten to film me filing the thumb at this point, so I was just showing y'all at the beginning like how I was filing it, what direction and stuff. I just made sure to keep the file straight up against the side of the nail, like what I'm doing right now, just filing it straight up and down, and then did that on the other side. And then, you know, when I file the end of my nail, I go straight up and down. I don't do it across, because if you do it across, then you might, you know, end up with a crooked nail or whatever. I don't even know how to explain it, but yeah, just make sure when you're at the end of the nail, you file straight up and down versus going side to side. And then like I was doing just now, just then I filed like the top of the nail to smooth it out with a buffer, and I did it before with a hand file. And I recommend using a hand file when you first are like smoothing the nail, because it definitely is easier, at least when you're a beginner. If you're using like a e-file, it's easier to like make dents or just mess up when you're like using an e-file to smooth the nail when you first, you know, start out. So I would recommend using a hand file first, and you can go in lightly or whatever with the e-file, especially around the cuticle, because it's hard to get around like the cuticle area when you're using a hand file. So I would recommend going in after you use a hand file with an e-file to you know, get the cuticle and like kind of flush your acrylic to the cuticle, if it is a little bulkier up there. Also, what I'm doing now, I used a form behind my tip. This is what I was talking about in the beginning of the video. I used a form to like kind of help me with reshaping that nail, because I didn't like how I had shaped it. So I used the form because I thought that I may make it a little longer or whatever may happen. I thought, you know, the acrylic may come, you know, from outside of the, you know, just get on the outside of the tip, and it obviously would not stay or stick to the nail if it didn't have anything to hold on to. So that's why I put a form up under my nail. And yeah, I think really that's it. Also, just want to tell y'all, because I've seen like a lot of videos, and like, I'm not trying to be rude or anything. I'm just saying, like, I've personally been able to learn how to apply better near the cuticle by placing my bead a little below and like push it up towards the cuticle. And like, also that's what some other nail like techs and people would say, you know, on their videos, to place it a little below and then push it up. And I've seen where some people will apply it like right on their cuticle area, and it'll kind of like flood. And I think that that's probably not the best way to do that. So yeah, I mean, what works for you works for you. But if you are having trouble applying like your bead for the cuticle area, I would suggest you like place it below the cuticle, and not right below, like right, like maybe like, you know, just a little bit below. I don't even know how to explain like how far below, but just place it below the cuticle and like push it up. And then like that'll definitely, you know, just like make it easier, because if you place it right on the cuticle, it's going to flood and you're going to be like cleaning up acrylic off of your skin. So yeah. And yep, I think that that's basically it right here. I'm just applying like, or I have applied some top coat and then like poured the little caviar beads on the top coat. I'm going to cure it, and then that will be the end of that. And I think that really that's all I have to show y'all. Y'all can see like right here in this clip though, like my initial design with the brown and like how I put the little line of diamonds, because I really thought I had something, but that was not cute when the whole thing was all together. So yeah. But anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if anyone is watching. If you are watching, thank you. Please like, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, just remember to, do those things, and I will love you forever. All right. I'll talk to y'all in the next video. Bye.